How researchers found where to look for Planet 9. Dr. Brown mentioned in his tweet that the data only tells us the orbital path of Planet 9, but not where in the orbital path it is. It is more likely to be at its most distant point from the Sun, but only because it travels more slowly there. In August 2006, the International Astronomical Union broke several hearts when it announced that it had reclassified Pluto as a dwarf planet. The decision was based on Pluto's size and the fact that it resides within a zone of other similarly sized objects. Currently, there are 5 dwarf planets: Eris, Pluto, Eris, Makemake, and Haumea. Scientists have continued their search for new planets, and in 2016, Konstantin Batyin and Michael E. Brown, both from the California Institute of Technology, published a paper in the Astronomical Journal stating that they had evidence for a distant giant planet and nicknamed it Planet 9. They noted that it could have a mass of about 10 times that of Earth. Although we were initially quite skeptical that this planet could exist, as we continued to investigate its orbit and what it would mean for the outer solar system, we became increasingly convinced that it is out there, as said Dr. Batygin, an assistant professor of planetary science, in a release. For the first time in over 150 years, there is a solid evidence that the solar system's planetary census is incomplete. The team continued their study of their planet and in 2019 published a pair of papers on its orbit and influence on other objects. The most distant objects that we know of it in the solar system are being slightly tugged by some gravitational effects as far as we can tell. The only possible explanation is a giant planet out there explanation, Dr. Brown in an email to indianexpress.com. He was the one of the researchers who helped reclassify Pluto and is the author of the book How I Killed Pluto and Why It Had It Coming. New computer studies said the Planet 9 could be 5 Earth masses. Planet 9 is likely to be very reminiscent of a typical extrasolar super-Earth, explained Dr. Batygin in a release. Planet 9 is going to be the closest thing we will find to a window into the properties of a typical planet of our galaxy. Is Planet 9 a black hole? Researchers from across the globe have carried out several studies on Planet 9, and there are several theories about it, including one that stated Planet 9 could in fact be a black hole. The paper published last year in Physical Review Letters argued that the unknown object causing anomalous orbits in the trans-Neptunian objects could be a primordial black hole. Another study published in 2018 in the Astronomical Journal gave more evidence for the existence of Planet 9. It noted that a trans-Neptunian object called 2015 BP519 had an unusual trajectory because it was affected by Planet 9's strong gravity. The lead author Juliet Becker had been told the Indian Express, when he ran a simulation without Planet 9, we found it was very hard to make objects like BP519. When we ran a different simulation including Planet 9, we found that it was very easy to make objects like BP519. What is the new finding? Dr. Brown tweeted last month that has the treasure map to find Planet 9. 5.5 years about our proposal of the existence of Planet 9, we have finally accomplished what is perhaps the most important task in aiding the search. We now know where to look, he wrote in his blog. The paper posted on AirXIV says that Planet 9 has a mass of 6.2 Earth masses. The paper also details Planet 9's semi-major axis inclination and perihelion. Dr. Brown mentioned in his tweet that data only tells us the orbital path of Planet 9, but not where in the orbital path it is. It is more likely to be at its most distant point from the Sun, but only because it travels more slowly there. But this is where you should be looking, he retweeted. When asked if there were any ideas on how Planet 9 was formed, he explained, our best guess is that it formed in the vicinity of Uranus and Neptune and eventually got too close to Jupiter or Saturn, which flung it out into the outer reaches of our solar system. The team is continuing their studies and note that Vera C. Rubin Observatory, currently under construction in Chile, will will further help the hunt for Planet 9. The observatory will scan the skies night after night and eventually uncover many things, including he hope Planet 9, concludes Dr. Brown. Thank you.